Hello and welcome to the Following On Cricket podcast. We are with talkSPORT, Sam Ellard and the Double Ashes winner Steve Harmison. 226 test match wickets, and yes, he was once the number one ranked bowler in the world for just over a year, which doesn't get spoken about enough. We are talking to you guys on the back of the second test match. England resumed on day 4, 36 for 2. With a glimmer of hope, or maybe a little bit more of a glimmer of hope, of chasing down 297 and winning the second test match and winning the series. But it was a bad day for England. In fact, it wasn't even a bad day for England. It was a bad hour and 50 minutes for England because they were bowled out for 144 in the morning session, meaning that Pakistan win the second test match by 152 runs. Noman Ali, a day to remember for him, a test match to remember for him, finishing with figures of 8 for 46. Lots to get through on the Following On Cricket podcast. Harmy, we've seen bazball win test matches from some pretty tricky circumstances, and maybe this morning I did wake up and I did think, hey, root of the crease, captain Ben Stokes, Bryden Cast coming in at 8. It just didn't happen, did it, Harmy?
No, it didn't, Sam. I was of the opinion in the last sort of couple of days where this surface was just getting harder and harder to score on. I think harder and harder to play the aggressive route as well. I mean, I think there was no pace in it whatsoever by the end. The pitch was dead. The ball was getting soft. And for me, coming this morning, I'm thinking England either win by 8 wickets or they lose by a big margin. And that was always going to be the case. It was either the two players get in, get set, get going, and comfortably be able to withstand whatever Pakistan have got to throw them, or the minute you start losing wicket after wicket, then it was going to be you're just delaying the inevitable because of the nature of the surface, the pressure that Pakistan were putting England under, and fair play to Pakistan. They gambled with the team, they gambled with the surface. They got the first bit right with the tactics of winning the toss, and then I think they probably did play the better of the cricket.
What went wrong then for England today, Harmy? The scoreboard today, the scorecard today looks pretty messy, 144. When you see the wickets fall and fall and fall, was there anything you thought that England should have done better, could have done better?
Not today. No, I don't think you can look at today. I think you have to look at over the course of the 4 days. I think you look at, there was passages of times where there were a couple of drop catches. Salman got dropped when I think England had them 180 in front, 170.
Yeah, game was in the balance at that point, wasn't it?
At that point, yeah. That looked as though England were tired. That looked as though there was, and I think when you put it into the grand scheme of things, Joe Root drops the catches. He's been on the field for a huge proportion of this Test series so far. Jamie Smith's in the infancy of his Test career, never played at that part of the world, and there's still a lot of question marks on his, I think, place in the subcontinent, whether he's good enough from a keeping point of view and batting point of view. And he's gone through the mill as well and been out there in the sun for a hell of a long time. And he dropped a catch like, a lot of people do. It was lost yesterday. I think it was lost yesterday. I think there was passages of the play yesterday where the game was set up for England to have a lead, to be chasing around about 240. And I think that psychologically is a completely different ball game. I still said at the end of day 2 or day 3 that 150 is going to be a big score to chase fourth innings on this. But I think with England, all of a sudden once it gets past 250, it gets past 280. Even this bazball team, I didn't think. I thought it was a 1 in 10 chance that England were going to get anywhere near 300.
You mentioned there Jamie Smith, and you said that he's still yet to obviously prove himself in the subcontinent. We know this is just his first Test series away from home. But do you think, sort of more long term, from what you've seen so far of Smith with the gloves and with the bat, that he is good enough to keep him bat 7 for England in all conditions? Or do you still think that as England come back to the subcontinent in the years to come, that the option of Ben Stokes is something England should consider, and maybe potentially, we could see Jamie Smith bat higher up the order somewhere maybe?
Possibly bat higher up the order. I still think he comes back as keeper. I think Ben Stokes and Brendan McCullum and the management team have invested a hell of a lot in faith in Jamie Smith. I think they have to give him the chance to develop. I think that's the key thing. This kid, it's the first time he's been into that part of the world. He's developing. He's still a young lad. I think he's a smashing talent. He dropped a catch. He missed a stumping in 2 Test matches. so what? Honestly, that didn't lose us the game. Not for 1 minute did it lose us the game. I think he is a player who I think ticks a lot of boxes in this group, and I think his positivity and positives far outweigh the little negatives. And bringing Ben Folkes back, I think Ben Folkes is in with the Johnny Bairstow and one or two others, Keaton Jennings, Sam Curran, unfortunately, that their ship sailed. I mean, England are looking forward and not looking back. So I don't think, unless there's somebody comes out the woodwork who is an unbelievable wicketkeeper in that part of the world and new and can bat, then I can see Jamie Smith being England wicketkeeper in both home conditions, away conditions, subcontinent conditions for quite a few years to come.
It's been a crazy couple of months, hasn't it, really, for Pakistan cricket coming into this series on the back of that Bangladesh series. They obviously lost the first test match, then there was carnage in the days in between in terms of the wicket they're playing on. There was obviously the dropping of three of their most senior players and three of their best players, especially after winning the toss. I mean, goodness me, they needed this win, didn't they, Pakistan? And look, we should give them some credit because they've been a little bit of a laughing stock, haven't they, from a lot of people over the last couple of days and last couple of weeks. And sure, winning the toss, it felt like on this pitch was super, super important. But goodness me, they needed this victory, didn't they?
Oh, 100% they needed the victory for Jason Gillespie, for the selection panel to be vindicated about the selection they had. I'd still bring Babar Azam back. I really would. I'd bring him straight back. Possibly not for the Rawalpindi Test match, but after this Test series, the first Test match in the foreseeable future, that Pakistan player, my first name on the team sheet will be Babar Azam. He is the best player they've got, and I mean, how do they get pitches like this in Pakistan? Do they go to Rawalpindi and say, come on, we'll let a junior game and we'll let a one-day game and we'll let another game play between now and next Thursday when the Test match starts, just to get some wear into the surface? Because I think it's shown England in the subcontinent have got vulnerabilities against spin, against good spin, and we've seen in turning conditions England have found wanting again. So, and from Pakistan's point of view, it was definitely a win that they needed. I'm pleased for Jason Gillespie. He was on the show 2 weeks ago on Following On, talking to me and Manners, talking about consistency of what he wanted his team to play like. They need to find a surface in Pakistan. They need an identity at this moment in time. The realization is they've lost 7 Test matches, or not won for 7 Test matches. Bangladesh even beat them in their own back garden. And they don't have an identity. They don't have seam bowlers that can bowl on the flat wicket like they used to. They don't have spin bowlers to bowl on the flat wickets like they used to. They've had to play on a pitch which was 8 days old to try and force their first result since 2021 out on home soil. It tells you that 27 selectors needs looking at. It needs consistency of selection.
Are you one of those, by the way?
What? One of the
selectors? Are you one of the 27 selectors?
I don't think so. I really don't think so.
I mean, 27.
And they even sacked 2 yesterday. I think they got rid of the captain and the coach yesterday from the selection panel, or this week from the selection panel.
27 selectors, and the captain and coach aren't 1 or 2 of the 27.
What's that saying? The Chiefs and the Indians. I mean, it's embarrassing. It really is.
That's crazy.
You look at the England model. Rob Key, Brendan McCullum, and Ben Stokes basically pick a side. And I know it's different because, I mean, Rob Key has got so much disdain for county cricket. It's unbelievable. But Ben Stokes is not bothered about the county game. He looks as though he identifies players that fit the mould for the series and the team that he wants to pick. And possibly given the captain and the coach a little bit more freedom, but carte blanche to go and pick who they want to mould their team to try and be the best version of the Pakistan team that that represents the country. Maybe that is the way to go, rather than 27 people going, well, I'm having him in because he's my mate. I'm having him in because he's from my district. I'm having him in from that. And that, unfortunately, thrown in with the pitches not being able to force a result, tells you exactly where Pakistan cricket is at this moment in time.
You mentioned the pitch, and we'll have to wait and see what they do prepare next week. But looking at England and their team, their selection, what sort of changes are you thinking they could make? I'm thinking Bryden Cars, who's played back-to-back Test matches. Can he go again? Can he go 3 in a row? Or they try and keep all the bowlers fresh and make some more changes?
It depends. He was limping yesterday, but I think that's got a lot to do with the big toe. I think the boots had a malfunction of the shoes that were giving him some stick, and the amount of work he's had to do. I'd like to play him again. I really would. There's no reason for him not to play again. I don't think there's any reason why Potts can't play again, because the two of them, they looked more. I think they looked as though there was more in them than there was in definitely in Wokes. But Wokes gives you the bit batting. I think you get to Rawalpindi and see how bodies play up and see what the pitch is. It wouldn't surprise me if it don't play on an absolute raging Turner, and then Rian comes into the equation. So I think all possibilities of England's team, apart from probably Jamie Cox and Ollie Stone, I think the other 14 will potentially have a little fight for whoever's going to play. I think England will bring Chris Wokes back. I'm not sure that's a good idea. I'd keep Potts and Carse in the team, and if you're going to go with three seamers, I'd go Potts, Carse, and Gus Atkinson with the two spin bowlers who have performed very, very well in Leach and Bashir.
Yeah, and we'll just finish calmly with Pakistan, because it'll be a day to remember for Nouman Ali. 8 for 46, a Test match he's going to remember.
Yeah, he batted well as well in this series, in this Test match.
That was important runs yesterday, wasn't it?
Massively important runs. So yeah, I mean, full credit to Pakistan. They were at rock bottom, and I'm not sure they could have get any lower if they had lost this Test match.
Could you imagine, Harmy?
I think there might have been less than 27 selectors if they had lost this Test match coming for the next week. But look, yeah, Nouman Ali bowled excellent, Sajid Khan bowled excellent, and fair play to Pakistan. They need congratulating. They were the best team this week. And 1-1 going into Rawalpindi.
There we go. It's Pakistan 1, England 1. Pakistan win the second Test match by 152 runs. You've been listening to the Following On Cricket podcast.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.